इतः पर्यन्तं पठितं खलु अस्माभिः। हिमानि हन्तव्यं हिमगिरिनिवासैकचतुरौ निशायां निद्राणं निशिचरमभागे च विशदौ वरं लक्ष्मीपात्रं श्रियमतिसृजन्तौ समयिनाम् सरोजं त्वत्पादौ जननि जयतश्चित्रमिह किम्। Hey Janani, O Mother, your holy feet, which are themselves lotuses, is more beautiful and more worship worthy than the lotus upon which Lakshmi resides. Because your feet, which are lotuses, have walked the terrains, the frigid terrains of the Himalayas, whereas any other flower, any other, even if it is Lakshmi's flower, it will wither away under snowfall. Whereas other flowers and wealth does not come to our use, to our rescue during the dark nights of our soul. Your feet are always ever ready and aware and awake to the bhakta's calls. uh, Lakshmi's patra, that is the utensil in which Lakshmi resides, that is the lotus, is vara. It gives vara to people that are approaching it. Whereas your feet, sarvebhyah samayina samayibhyah sarvebhyah api shriyam atisrujantau, they create abundance and prosperity to all the Samaya Margis, to all the sadhakas, irrespective of if they have asked for it or not. And hence, the lotus feet of yours is a bit superior, it's a tad bit superior than Lakshmi's lotus. This is the poetic comparison he draws, thereby implying that her feet, meaning her dhyana, is better than seeking after material wealth. इदानीम् अग्रे सराम पदं ते कीर्तीनाम् क्षम्यता I may have gone 88 पदं ते कीर्तीनां प्रपदमपदं देवि विपदाम्. Did I go to a different shloka? Here. कथं नीतं सद्भिः कठिनकमठीकर्परतुलाम् कथं वा बाहुभ्याम् उपयमनकाले पुरभिदा यदा दायन्यस्तं दृशदिदयमानेन मनसा पदं ते कीर्तीनां प्रपदमपदं देवि विपदाम् कथं नीतं सद्भिः कठिनकमठीकर्परतुलाम् कथं वा बाहुभ्याम् उपयमनकाले पुरभिदा यदा दायन्यस्तं दृशदिदयमानेन मनसा. श्रूयते खलु मम स्क्रीन् अपि दृश्यते इति मन्ये. उषार्ये भवती गातुमिच्छति किम्? अस्तु अस्तु चिन्ता नास्ति. ओके अस्तु अस्तु. पदं ते कीर्तीनां प्रपदम् अपदं देवि विपदाम् कथं नीतं सद्भिः कठिनकमठी कर्परतुलाम्. कथं sadbhihi, how did the saints compare your divine feet, padamte, compare your divine feet to the harsh outer shell of a turtle. So it is a reference to the Lalita Sahasranama. If any of you remember, there is a Kachapi is one of the names given to Devi. Let us just explore where that exact verse occurs. Kathina Kamathi. Kamathi ityukte Kurmaha. Karpara Tulam. Karpara is rough. Sorry, Kathina is rough. Karpara is the outer shell. How was your feet compared to the outer shell of a tortoise? Katham Neetam. How did they make this comparison? Kirtinam Prapadam. Your feet are actually the Prapada. They are the originator, the source of all Kirti. And Devi Vipadam Apadam. And of all Vipad, of all disasters and catastrophes that one may face in life, your feet are Apadam. They will Duri Karoti. Apada means they will uh, take away. Your feet will take away. Duri Karoti Kim Vipadam Apadam Asti. They remove all catastrophes and desires and great many disasters from happening in our life. They will reduce the quantum of consequence of our bad actions if we go by the karma theory, and they will reduce it to something very small. For example, a very classical example they give is if astrology is true, why then even is there a need for doing any karma? That is the usual philosophical question, right? If all the grahas are determining our position, our behavior, and our circumstances, what then use is there for sadhana, for any parihara? The answer given there is that though the pariharas will not take away the consequence of the action, they will only minimize it. To that level, it is effective. Similarly, all Devi's dhyana will not ensure that our papas are burnt, but that they are diminished in their consequence, in their effects. Apadam vipadam. If such is the mahima of your feet, how then did they make this comparison of your feet, which are so divine, so generous, to that of a kachapi, of the harder outer shell of a kachapa, of a tortoise? By the time it loads, let's move further. Katham va bahubhyam upayamana kale purabhida yat adaya nyastam drishadi dayamanena manasa. And how still he is wondering, Bahubhyam, that is Shiva, Upayamana Kale, during her Vivaha, that is during the wedding ceremony, where the bridegroom, that is the groom, here Shiva, is supposed to take the feet of the lady, of the bride, during the Saptapadi. Is that a tradition that both of you are aware of? There is this Saptapadi, right? There are 7 feet. That is, the husband holds the feet of the bride and makes her walk on 7 steps. And at each step, there is a certain Shila. There is a step. There are 7 steps, right? These are in at least in olden days there were the 7 steps. Each were marking different stages of life wherein they are vowing to each other that they will be for each other forever. So on these 7 aspects, the bride and the bridegroom are making a vow to each other that they will be together. So there were these Shilas. And similarly, the poet is imagining rather, how in the Kalyana of Parvati and Shiva, Shiva would have placed Parvati's feet 7 times on such Shilas. But your feet are so supple and they're so generous that they bestow kirti to people who worship it and touch it, and they'll remove all vipads from them. How can Shiva, with his very powerful biceps and tricep and bahu, have placed such sensitive feet on drishad. Drishad is stones or shila. Yat adaya nyastam. He took your feet and placed them on such shilas. But still, how did he come to be known to have daya in his manas? Dayamanena manasa yat adaya drishadi nyastam. He placed your feet having compassion in his heart. This is very vichitra, is how he is commenting, is what he is commenting. How could Shiva, who has great compassion and love for you, for all beings in fact, have placed your feet on such seven shilas? Purabhid is Shiva, one who destroyed the Puras. ये उपयमन काले अर्थात विवाह काले शिवेन कथम तव पादौ शिलासु दयमानेन मनसा सत्यपि न्यस्तम. And the other comparison he's making, he is actually taking the side of Devi's feet and saying, no, 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 the comparison that the saints did in the Lalita Sahasranama of calling your feet to be like a kachapa is wrong. And see here, Nija Sallapa Madhurya Vinirbharchita Kachapi Mandasmita Prabhakara Majjat Kamesha Manasa. And okay, let us find if we let's keep looking and see if the description of her feet are there. अत्र गूढ़गुल्फा कूर्मपृष्ठ जयिष्णु प्रपदान्विता. Her feet prapada are, they are winning over the hardness of the kurma prishtha of the back of a tortoise. Why is this comparison made is what Shankaracharya, the poet here, is wondering. Usually, the interpretation given here is Kurma Prishtha refers to the Kurmavatara of Vishnu. And in the Kurmavatara, the Kurma Prishtha, the back of the tortoise, was holding what? Yeah, not the earth, but it is holding a certain mountain called as the Mandara mountain, which was used for churning of the ocean, right? So in the ocean, when the Mandara mountain started to sink, Vishnu took the form of Kurma and upheld the mountain, and that is that's often cited to show how Vishnu is capable of bearing the weight of a mountain too. And this recurs even in the Krishna's Avatara case, where he holds the Govardhana mountain uh, on his little finger. Rama again vows that he will destroy the volcano close by to create the Setu. And so this is a running trope of Vishnu and the mountain. But I think the common interpretation given is that just as Kurmavatara's Prishtha upheld the mountain, her feet, her feet can uphold the entire universe itself, because the entire universe stands, or rather resides below her feet. So in such a context, it is told that her feet are upholding the universe. But the Kavi here is taking a sarcastic tone here and saying, no, 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 how could the saints have compared your such sensitive feet to a harder shell of a to the hard shell of a tortoise? And how could Shiva, in all his compassion and love for you, have placed your feet on seven times on such uh, Shila? And not only that, having wedded Parvati, he has to make the wife walk on the Himalayas, which are very frigid and rigid. This is the analogy given. Any comments? Um, Kripaya Gayatu. Okay, just a minute. I'm not getting this is the right resolution. Yeah. Padam te kirtina. Astu, astu. पदं ते कीर्तीनां प्रपदमपदं देवि विपदां कथं नीतं सद्भिः कठिनकमठीकर्परतुलां कथं वा बाहुभ्याम् उपयमनकाले पुरभिदा यदादायन्यस्तं दृशदि दयमानेन मनसा नखैर्नाकस्त्रीणां करकमलसङ्कोचशशिभिः तरूणां दिव्यानां हसत इव ते चण्डिचरणौ फलानि स्वस्थेभ्यः किसलयकराग्रेण ददताम् दरिद्रेभ्यो भद्रां श्रियमनिशमह्नाय ददतौ नखैर्नाकस्त्रीणां करकमलसङ्कोचशशिभिः तरूणां दिव्यानां हसत इव ते चण्डिचरणौ फलानि स्वस्थेभ्यः किसलयकराग्रेण ददताम् दरिद्रेभ्यो भद्रां श्रियमनिशमह्नाय ददतौ हे चंडी हे Durge, Tava Charanau. Now, once again, continuing the description of her feet, he says, Charanau Divyanam Tarunam Hasataha Iva. The two of your feet are as though they are laughing, they are smiling and they're smirking that they are better than the Divya Taru, the divine celestial trees. And we know a couple of them, right? We know the Kalpavriksha, the most famous, and there are said to be its offsprings. I don't remember their names, but there are some other offsprings. And then there is the Chintamani, the Kamadhenu, all of these come under the same umbrella of wish fulfilling things. So, in the Swarga, it is told that there are such trees which will give anything that you ask for. And Nakhaihi Nakastrinam Kara Kamala Sankocha Shashibhihi Tarunam Divyanam Hasataha Iva Te Chandi Charano Te Charanau Hasataha Iva. They are laughing. Why? Nakhaihi, the nails of whose nakastrinam nakhaihi. Now you have to remember, imagine this scenario where Devi is sitting with her feet, right? And then there are all the devatas who are praying with their hands held up. They're holding it above their head. And so here the description is that there are the damsels, the apsaras stri, naka stri, the stries of the heaven. Naka is heaven. Nakhaihi with the because they have very glazing nail, maybe they have applied nail polish or whatever. So their nails of their feet when they are held up, kara kamala sankocha. Sankocha is when they have folded it like a bud of what? A bud of kamala. And shashi here refers to the moonlight like rays which are emanating from the nakhas of the apsaras. So, thereby meaning the light which is emanating from them is one coming from the source of the personification of beauty itself, which is the apsaras. Then it is coming from the hands which are like Kamala, once again emanating from a source of beauty, and the moon, the white light is like the Shashi, again a very often used metaphor for beauty. So such light is reaching your feet. Tarunam Divyanam Hasataha Iva Te Chandi Charanau. And the feet which are glown, which are visible to me because they have been lit up by the light coming from such entities, they are as though laughing. And if you can imagine, he's saying they're laughing because the nails of Devi also, I mean, anybody's nails are curved in this manner, right? Just imagine these to be the nails of the Devi and of the feet of the Devi. So, because they have a curvature like this, it's as though they're laughing, right? They're all laughing. All these smileys are there. And why are they laughing? फलानि स्वस्थेभ्यः किसलयकराग्रेण ददतां तरूणां दिव्यानां दरिद्रेभ्यः भद्रां श्रियम् अनिशम् अह्नाय ददतौ. These charanas are laughing because they are looking at the trees also which are bowing in reverence before them. And these tarus, Divya tarus, Kisalaya Karagrena Swasthebhyaha Phalani Dadatam. These trees and other celestial objects, with their Kisalaya Karagra, means through the stems, through their branches and stems, which are very slender, when they reach down like the banyan tree, they will produce phala, they'll give phala, for whom? Swasthebhyaha, for people who are already in heaven. For people who are already in heaven, which means they have already earned their place in heaven, they are giving some fruits. By that they mean they are bestowing varas onto people who are already swastha, who are already sadhakas. So it doesn't take much effort for the tree, and their capacity is only limited that they can give phalas to only people who are already accomplished, well accomplished. But the charanas of yours are daridrebhyaha anisham ahnaya shriyam bhadrancha dadatau. The 2 feet of yours are giving Shriya and Bhadra. Shri and Bhadra. Bhadra means security or auspiciousness in itself, and Shri means prosperity. So it gives both yoga and kshema to whom? To daridras, for people who do not have them. And how? In what manner? Anisham. Anisham is every time, at all times. Anisham ahnaya shighram jhatiti. Ahnaya means immediately. It doesn't have to wait for the soul to depart and reach heaven to bestow some varas. And it doesn't require that a person does merit and then gets the eligibility to ask boons from the Kalpavriksha. The charanas of Devi are so compassionate that it can bestow Bhadra and Shriya to even Daridras immediately here and now. And hence the charanas are smirking that they know that they are actually superior. So they are smirking out of arrogance, arrogance like that they know themselves to be better off than the celestial beings. Avagatam Kim? Any takeaways from this from these two shlokas? Any comments or remarks you wish to make?
Interesting. Don't know whether there's a heaven or hell.
Hmm.
It's just only make you a story. See? So the place where we are living, the way our life is being conducted itself is heaven and hell, I would say.
Correct.
But because of good results, one day you could be in hell. You suffer so much and you have to come out of it. And I think one is experiencing heaven and hell all the time, depending as to what you're doing. And just, do you have to wait for your death to go to hell and come back? Or I don't think there's a heaven and hell. or maybe there is. Who knows?
Hmm. Satyam. I think the purpose.
What the stories were told long, long time ago to people to follow certain steps or rituals or dharma or whatever. If you put a fear of God in youngsters as you're growing, they get a sort of thing, oh, we should do good things, and if we do bad things, it's going to be bad for not only us, for others too. So such children who absorb such advices, they become good citizens in future.
Satyam.
I think it's those stories.
Hmm. True. I mean, there is absolutely, I mean, rationally, one cannot find an evidence for it. And it is absolutely understandable that, we have this streak of skepticism in us. That's true. And it's good to have it, I believe. Correct.
Interesting stories.
Yes. Like you say, it could also just have been a social tool to, lead people towards morality and use the carrot stick model, uh, to nudge people in a direction that is required by society to be sustainable. Satya. Sadhu. Any other comments? Any other remarks or takeaways from this? Of course, I understand that all of this is very just poetic and literature like. Uh, all the heavy abstract heavy lifting has already been done in the first 45 shlokas. So the next 50 shlokas are just describing using poetry to concentrate the mind by all these metaphors, similes, and figures of speech, just to entertain the mind. Sorry? Correct. Upaman, Upameya. Yes. It's a tool. It's a poetic tool to bring the mind to focus, is what I believe. Do you think it is so? Hmm.
Just such, especially Sanskrit.
Right. अस्तु अग्रे गच्छामः ददाने दीनेभ्यः श्रियमनिशमाशानुसदृशीम् अमन्दं सौन्दर्यप्रकरमकरन्दं विकिरति तवास्मिन्मन्दारस्तबकसुभगे यातु चरणे निमज्जन्मज्जीवः करणचरणः षट्चरणताम् ददाने दीनेभ्यः श्रियमनिशमाशानुसदृशीम् अमन्दं सौन्दर्यप्रकरमकरन्दं विकिरति तवास्मिन्मन्दारस्तबकसुभगे यातु चरणे निमज्जन्मज्जीवः करणचरणः षट्चरणताम् हे देवी मम करणचरणः करण मीन्स अंतःकरण चरणः षट्चरणतां यातु may my inner instruments become a bee. May it become a bee. And a bee is called as Shatcharana. Shatcharana because if you look at a bee, it has six legs, right? It's what is it called? It's biologically called an anthropod, I think, an insect. So a honey bee, let's confirm that it has only six legs. Yeah, so it has six legs. That's why it's called the Shatcharana. These are the two antenna. They are not to be mistaken as legs. And we have the Antahkarana, right? We have the Antahkarana. We say Antahkarana Chatushtaya. We have four Antahkarana. What are they? Manaha, Buddhi, Chittam, Ahankaraha. Ete Chattvaraha, Antahkarana Chatuштayam. Bahihi, we have the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas. So maybe he has considered these four and these two to be the six. Now he is saying, may my mind and my entire being, the physical and the mental beings, completely become transformed into a honeybee, which will buzz around the feet, the lotus feet of yours. As you have seen, lotuses always have uh, a swarm of bees around them because they produce very good nectar and enough pollen for them to feast upon. So may this mind of mine, which is the Mano Brahmara, and we have seen a very similar verse in the Shivananda Lahari too. May the Brahmara of my mind revolve and be always around Brahmarambika and the Sri Shaila Manjuna, Sri Shaila Ishvara also, who is the spouse of Brahmarambika. So that is a theme we have seen once again repeated in Shivananda Lahari. Here he is saying, may my jiva, mad jiva, nimajjan, may it drown in the nectar of your feet. Mandara, stabaka subhage, nimajjan majjiva, shatcharanatam yatu. In your charana, in your feet, which are like the lotuses, which are the twin lotuses, right? Because they are so fair and so pretty and uh, pink with the henna. May my mind always revolve here, buzz around here, meaning may my mind always think and may my entire being be subjected to surrender to your feet, and may it drink the nectar of Mandara Stabaka. From the Stabaka means uh, from the gucha of your feet, the Subhaga, which is beautiful, may it drink the Mandara and become the honeybee. Why is it always compared to the honeybee? Because as you have seen, bees, they are not very stable, they are not very steady. They're like so random that we get scared of them, not because they're big or that they can bite. Much of the fear which comes of insects is because very unpredictable, right? That is also the very interesting reason why we fear jokers, because the jokers are the jesters are very unpredictable, which is why they feature in all these horror movies. Unpredictable. We don't know what is going on behind the mask. We never know when they will hit us or slap us, or when they will fall at our feet. So, because this uncertainty is a greater source of fear than just being very gory and grotesque, that fact has been exploited well in horror movies. And for this very same reason, we fear many animals too, though they may be completely harmless. And in fact, as compared to us, logically speaking, even if it were to bite us, it would hardly sting for a moment or two, but we would fear them like the plague. So that is the uncertainty in them which is causing this fear. And similarly, the uncertainty of our life is causing our mind to be like this Brahmara that we always fear. We fear ourselves, and hence the metaphor. ददाने दीनेभ्यः श्रियम् अनिशम् आशानुसदृशीम् amandam saundarya prakara makarandam vikirati. Your charana is oozing vikirati, what? Makaranda, the nectar, which is prakara, which is abundant nectar is being oozed out from your feet of Soundarya. Of course, there is no fluid or pus coming from her feet, but it's the Soundarya which is being emanated from her feet, which is amandam, which is unmissable. It's unavoidably beautiful. And what is it doing? Asha anusadrishim shriyam anisham dinebhyah dadane. They are giving continuously to Dina, for people who are dependent on her, shriya, fortunes and knowledge, how? Again, Anisham continuously, day and night, and as per their own wishes, Ashanu Sadrishim, whatever they ask for, their whims and fancies are being fulfilled by your feet, meaning Devi, the supreme tattva, is ever ready, is ever at the edge of its seat to bestow upon us anything and fulfill all our fantasies. And may my mind therefore be taken up and drowned in such a nectar, and may it lose its complete identity altogether. With this, we have come to the Antima Dashaka of the text, and here we shall move forward uh, into themes of such surrender, of absolute love and surrender to the feet of the Mata. पदन्यासक्रीडापरिचयमिवारब्धुमनसः स्खलन्तस्ते खेलं भवनकलहंसा न जहति अतस्तेषां शिक्षां सुभगमणि मञ्जीररणितः छलादाचक्षाणं चरणकमलं चारुचरिते पदन्यासक्रीडापरिचयमिवारब्धुमनसः स्खलन्तस्ते खेलं भवनकलहंसा न जहति अतस्तेषां शिक्षां सुभगमणि मञ्जीररणितः छलादाचक्षाणं चरणकमलं चारुचरिते. Imagine this, that there is the Devi playing with the Hamsas in her palace. It is not necessarily Saraswati, but it's Parvati. So it is talking of her youthful days. Of course, she is ever young, but before her marriage, she was when she residing in the palace of Himavan, she would play with the Hamsas. She would play with the Hamsas in a pond in the Himalayas, and Pada Nyasa Krida Parichayam Iva Arabdhu Manasaha Skhalantaha Te Bhavana Kalahamsaha Khelam na Jahati. What is happening is she wanted to teach how to play the what is it called? The hopscotch. Is that the word for Kunte Bele? Is that I think that is the word in Kannada. Is that the word? Yeah. Yeah, hopscotch. So you should imagine Parvati Devi playing hopscotch with her friends, and at some time she would play it with the Hamsas itself. And the Hamsas, they also want to play it. They love Devi and they want to give her company. So they are also trying to play it. But Skhalantaha, they are following, I mean, they're falling and they're tripping over themselves. You could see a swan if there's any video of tripping and falling, right? Just imagine this. Now, this is a nice picture. They're trying to learn, but they are falling off. They are not able to accurately mimic the movement of Devi. Pada Nyasa is that hopscotch. Krida Parichayam Iva Arabdhu Manasaha. They want, they made their minds up to start playing this hopscotch game, and she wanted to introduce them to such a nice game. Parichayam, Khelam, Na Jahati. And then they would flock around the Devi's feet and not leave her go anywhere else. Na Jahati. Imagine this if you have a pet at home, right? When you start uh, engaging with the pet, and it would never want to leave you at all. Bhavana kalahamsaha na jahati. Ataha tesham shiksham, and to educate these hamsas, tesham shiksham subhaga mani manjira ranitaha chalat. Ajakshanam Charanakamalam Charite. So, hey Charite, oh Devi, you who walk with a certain beautiful gait, Charu Charite, that is one meaning. The other meaning is that your charitra is so beautiful, it's so amazing, fascinating. It is called, you are called Charu Charita. Tava Charana Kamalam, the lotus feet of yours, as though wanting to educate how to play properly to the Hamsas, it started educating them, it started giving them a lecture by Achakshanam. It is educating them, it is professing by chalat, by using a certain technique of what? Subhaga Mani Manjira Ranitaha. So the feet of yours had the anklets, right? You wear an anklet. Uh, and the sound of the anklets are being used by your feet to give commands and give cues to the Hamsas to follow a certain rhythm, follow a certain pattern. Subhaga means beautiful. Mani is they have certain gem studded anklets. Manjira is the anklet. Ranitaha means it made a sound. Chalat to as a technique for professing the Charana Kamala did so. This is the description. Maybe one of you can use ChatGPT to make a good image out of this. Overall, the purport here is that your gait is so beautiful that you started playing hopscotch to teach them how to walk like you. And because they were not able to learn from you and they were not letting you go anywhere else, your feet just used the jingling of the anklets to train them well. And that is how, I mean, the idea here is that your gait is so beautiful, like that of an Hamsa itself. It is better than a Hamsa's gait. That you actually taught them, like how Shiva gave the knowledge of Natya Shastra through his Tandava. It was you who taught the Hamsas how to walk properly. And that is where the Hamsa Gati, which is a very commonly used metaphor, a motif, has come to being, is what the author's opinion here is. Any comments? Kashtan abhipretum ichchati? Okay, I think this is all. Hmm, true.
Right. Once they lose the sting, lose their death as well.
Hmm,
Know that?
correct. Yes, I've heard that.
It's my observation.
Correct. And in a way, it is related, I believe, because tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, Arya, that we are in a way we shun ourselves. We sometimes go through phases of self-loathing because we hate ourselves. I mean, hate is a very strong word, but we somehow escape ourselves. We feel threatened by our own true nature. We find ourselves to be, we can't really accept ourselves for who we are, the good and the bad, the good, bad, and the ugly. So maybe that is why we use escapist routes always, uh, to evade getting stung by the bee of our own minds. But you're right. As long as we don't harm ourselves, the mind also would not harm us. Is that analogy somehow making sense? Hmm.
It's like schizophrenia.
Hmm.
So that's what they think. When they don't go on to commit. crime or murder or despicable acts or whatever bring to your mind.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, in that case, we can maybe going by the same analogy, their mind is acting against them. It's perhaps something has triggered a part of their mind to act against them somehow. Perhaps some trauma in their life, or maybe they have not looked at themselves. I mean, of course, this is a very childish way of diagnosing something. I would say I'm no psychologist, but I would say I would go by uh, a stroke of analysis and say maybe something went really seriously wrong in their lives, which led to the partitioning of their own mind, one which favors them and one which actively acts and produces thoughts against the well-being of the individual. So that could be the B which has been triggered. Is that what you were trying to say? Is that something that you were trying to say?
something um, the things within the brain, and when it happens, I'm not an expert either, but any fear, I don't know how to explain it. I'm sorry.
No worries. Okay. Yeah, it's great food for thought. We should all think about it. These questions are what really, really keep us awake at night and allow self-inquiry. These are beautiful. Any other person wants to comment? Just. Ah. Oh, sadhu. गतास्ते मञ्चत्वं द्रुहिणहरिरुद्रेश्वरभृतः शिवस्वच्छच्छाया घटितकपटप्रच्छदपटः त्वदीयानां भासां प्रतिफलनरागारुणतया शरीरी शृङ्गारो रस इव दृशां दोग्धिकुतुकम् गतास्ते मञ्चत्वं द्रुहिणहरिरुद्रेश्वरभृतः शिवस्वच्छच्छाया घटितकपटप्रच्छदपटः त्वदीयानां भासां प्रतिफलनरागारुणतया शरीरी शृङ्गारो रस इव दृशां दोग्धिकुतुकम् Mama kutukam dogdhi. Uh, my eye, it's causing curiosity in my eyes. Drisham kutukam dogdhi. What is causing curiosity in my eyes? We will look at this. Mama drisham kutukam dogdhi. Dogdhi means it's producing, or it is emoting. It's evocating curiosity in my eyes for what we'll see here. गताः ते मञ्चत्वं द्रुहिणहरिरुद्र ईश्वरभृतः. The very famous image of Lalita Devi, right, sitting like this on a pitha, which is Pancha Pretasanasina Pancha Brahma Swarupini, as she is told in the Lalita Sahasranama, where she is sitting atop a mancha of Shiva himself, and the four legs of the chair of the Pitha are formed by Brahma, Vishnu, Hari, Rudra, and Ishana or Ishvara, the other name for it. I'm not able to zoom in, but you get the idea. I've shown this image many times. So, te manchatvam gataha, they themselves volunteered to become the mancha for you, O Devi. And Shivaha swachha chaya ghatita kapata prachada pataha. And Shiva took on the form of the mattress, or what is it called? The cushion, rather, the cushion of your seat. Pata is the cushion, or a fiber. Chada pata is that cushion which is used to decorate the mancha. And Swachha Chaya Ghatita Kapata Prachada Pataha. He did a kapata. He did a very, he schemed, and he had a nice plan, a cunning plan that he wanted to ever be in your proximity, O Devi. And so he made this kapata of turning himself. He is anyway always already transparent. He is called Shuddha Spatika Sankasham, Shuddha Vidya Pradayakam, Shuddham Purnam Chidanandam, Sadashivamaham Bhaje is how the Laghunyasa describes him. He is the Shuddha Spatika. Spatika, is the quartz, which is also used in the mala. So it is very transparent, and it is like Shiva, how Shiva is very pure, and he has no guna in himself. That is why the transparency of the quartz is used to compare it to him. In fact, he is not actually blue. Many people have falsely thought Shiva is blue in color. He's actually very white, very almost transparent, like the Himalayas. And he has a white Vahana. He lives in the Himalayas, and his Trishula is also white, and so on. Anyhow, the only part which is blue is his throat. Swachha means Shuddha. Chaya, his shadow is already Swachha. It's Shuddha, which is almost white or transparent. And he turned himself into a Chaya, and Ghatita, he turned it by scheming and made himself into a cushion. Rather, if you can imagine a quartz colored sofa, a cushion, a sofa. Okay, that's not right. Let's just say a transparent cushion, right? So it's a very white cushion upon which Devi wanted to sit. So they became the chairs, the legs of the chair, and he turned himself into uh, a transparent cushion for her. For what? Tvadiyanam bhasam pratiphalana raga arunataya shringaraha rasaha shariri iva drisham kutukam dogdhi. So because of your bhasa, the light emanating from you, pratiphalana raga arunataya, and because of the reflection of Shiva, who is inherently white or almost transparent, but because of reflecting your red light, arunataya, saha api shringaraha rasaha shariri iva drisham kutukam dogdhi. He himself has become an embodiment, shariri, of the shringara rasa, which is actually pull apart from what the tattva of Shiva is, right? He is Kameshwara. He is one who has won over uh, Kama, and he is in fact the supreme most boring god ever. He is the Nirasa Nirguna Nirakari tattva. But because he chose to be in your proximity, uh, this wonderful combo of his white transparency with your raga aruna, and aruna is always said to be the color of raga, of kama, of desire, and not just lust, it is also of desire. And so this wonderful combination has led Shiva himself to take on an embodiment of, as though as though he has now become an embodiment of the Shringara rasa. So this is somehow an okayish depiction of it. You see, his legs are actually very transparent, and it's just not actually a purple cushion, but it is a white cushion. But because she is Aruna, completely Arunam, and so he has also become Aruna. Meaning, even the supreme tattva, the Nirguna tattva, which is represented by Shiva, can take on a hue, a tinge of desire in association with Maya. Right? So that is how the Saguna Ishvara is born. The Brahma along with Maya, that is Mahamaya, that is Devi, is said to take on the form of the Saguna Ishvara, and which is only a reflection because of the proximity to Maya, because we are actually more proximal, our minds are more proximal to Maya. Uh, uh, the tinge of the Sagunatva, of Ragatva, of Shringara Rasa has been superimposed on Brahman. That is how I would interpret it. Is there any other interpretation that you would like to offer? Astu, dhanyavada. Anybody else? Feel free, please open up if you are able to, or if you have anything to add or subtract. अस्तु अरालाकेशेषु प्रकृतिसरला मन्दहसिते शिरीषाभाचित्ते दृशदुपलशोभा कुचतटे भृशं तन्वी मध्ये पृथुरुरसिजारोह जगत्रातुं शम्भोर्जयति करुणा काचिदरुणा अरालाकेशेषु प्रकृतिसरला मन्दहसिते शिरीषाभाचित्ते दृशदुपलशोभा कुचतटे भृशं तन्वी मध्ये पृथुरुरसिजारोह जगत्रातुं शम्भोर्जयति करुणा काचिदरुणा. हे देवी, शम्भोः करुणा जगत् त्रातुं काचित् अरुणा, काचित् अराला, काचित् सरला, काचित् शिरीषाभा, काचित् उपलशोभा, काचित् तन्वी मध्ये तन्वी इत्यादि विषये अस्माकं त्राणार्थं जयति. So he is saying how actually Parvati is no different from Shiva, is what the take home message here is, that it is Shambhu's Karuna for what? For Jagat Tratum. It is the Parabrahma's uh, Karuna, the Vatsalya itself, which has become Devi, which is itself Devi, Parvati, Lalita, which has transformed because, as we saw earlier, that Shiva became an embodiment of, he took on the hue of Raga and became Aruna. This Karuna of his becomes Aruna, that is Parvati, and it takes on many other forms. The same energy, the compassion of Brahman becomes various things. We shall see what those are. Kesheshu Arala, that same energy, when it becomes circular, takes on the form of the hair of Devi. When it is Prakriti Sarala, when it becomes just a little curved, when the same energy becomes a little curved, becomes the Mandahasa of Devi. So it's describing the metamorphosis of the energy into a akara form. The nirakara energy is becoming a sakara form. And in what ways we are seeing that. And when it is Shirisha Abha, Shirisha is one of the very soft, tender flower. And when it takes on such a nature, it becomes the Chitta of Devi. It becomes the Chitta of Devi. Okay, this is a very bad drawing. I don't want to get into any controversies later on. But okay, let's just look at the picture of Devi herself. Perhaps a better artist in our group here, who is Trivikrama Varya, may be able to pictorially depict it. So the when it becomes curved, it becomes the hair. When it is slightly curved, it becomes the smile. When it is very soft and sensitive, it becomes the chitta of Devi. And when the energy is when it takes on Upala is opal. It's a gem. What is the opal? Gemstone. It's a curved moonstone, I think it is called. Okay, no, I don't think it is moonstone. It's something else, but this is the gem. So when it becomes curved or elliptical, it becomes the Kuchatata, the breasts of Devi. And when it becomes slender, it becomes the waist of Devi. And when it enlarges, when it expands, when the energy expands, it becomes the waist portion or the buttocks of Devi. And Pruthuhu Urasija is the buttocks, the glutes. Aroha Vishaye, and this is the way how Arohana has happened. Arohana here means evolution. Evolution of one fundamental energy into a anthropomorphic form. For what? Jagat Tratum, to protect the earth, to protect the world. Shambhoho, that is here Shambhu refers to Shiva, that is the Paratattva. Karuna, Shambhoho Karuna, Jagatratum Karuna, Jayati. It's here Jayati can't be really literally translated, but it is like hail this energy of Shambhu, which is originally Karuna in its form, which becomes Aruna by color, and which goes on to form the image of Devi in many different ways. So, what is the summary here? Hmm? Oh, उत्तम प्रश्नः. Hmm. Correct.
So who's the sculptor? Is it the poet?
Ah, wonderful. Yeah, very true. As they say, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So I think the beholder here is a, you have asked a very pointed question, correct? Yeah, I think the implication is then it is the mind of the person, the bhakta, the yogini or the bhakta, whoever is doing the dhyana. Very right. Because when he says Drisham Dogdhi, curiosity or it is so appearing to my eyes, the implication, the subtle implication is my eyes are seeing this way. So obviously it means maybe this supreme tattva could appear very different to another, to an animal. It could appear very different to some alien maybe, or we don't know what exactly it is. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Indeed. Certainly.
Jersey cows. Right, I find it very interesting. Thank you very much for explaining things.
Dhanyawad. Thank you for coming for our classes, raising all these very important insights and questions. Yeah. We get carried away by thinking God is this rupa, these hands, these legs, etc. But such questions ground us back to reality and thinking, who is the one who's imagining all this? That's a very important question. Astu. कलङ्कः कस्तूरी रजनिकरबिम्बं जलमयम् कलाभिः कर्पूरैर्मरकतकरण्डं निबिडितम् अतस्त्वद्भोगेन प्रतिदिनमिदं रिक्तकुहरम् विधिर्भूयो भूयो निबिडयति नूनं तव कृते कलङ्कः कस्तूरीरजनिकरबिम्बं जलमयम् कलाभिः कर्पूरैर्मरकतकरण्डं निबिडितम् अतस्त्वद्भोगेन प्रतिदिनमिदं रिक्तकुहरम् विधिर्भूयो भूयो निबिडयति नूनं तव कृते. Now, this is best understood with an image. Devi holding the cup of wine, the wine cup. So it is told that the Lalita, in her form as was truly first envisioned, uh, or perhaps Chandi. Chandi is also said to hold the wine cup. Actually, no, it should be Lalita herself, Lalita Devi. I think we have seen this in the Lalita Sahasranama classes. Let's just go back. One of the fundamental dhyana shlokas of her, Sinduraruna Vigraham Trinayanam Manikyamaulispurat Taranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhim Apina Vakshoruham Panibhyam Alipurna Ratna Chashakam. Ali is wine. That is where the word ale, it's the British, it's an English word, British English word ale, which means wine, comes from. Ali is this wine. Alipurna Ratna Chashakam, she is said to hold. You should imagine that very few paintings actually show this true form because of some taboo reasons that, we have somehow this colonial Victorian mentality, whereas we were so open-minded earlier. We have somehow constricted ourselves with false, duplicitous moralities when we are not even authentic to how the scriptures describe her to be anymore. We kind of uh, see something shameful about it and we cover it up. Anyhow, the description says she is holding a wine cup in her left hand and a lotus on her right. Okay. Let me find an image if I can and send it across on the group. That is the imagery. Now, coming back to the shloka, Kalankaha Kasturi Rajanikara Bimbam Jalamayam कलाभिः कर्पूरैः मरकतकरण्डं निबिडितम् अतः त्वत् भोगेन प्रतिदिनम् इदं रिक्तकुहरं विधिः भूयः भूयः निबिडयति नूनं तव कृते. So here is a description of Devi holding that wine cup, which is Ratna Shashaka, right? It is Marakata Karandam. Karanda is a bowl. Marakata is an emerald. Marakata is Marakata. We say Marakata Shyama, right? So it is the green emerald. So she is holding such a cup, which is Nibiditam. It is filled with Jalamayam, with water, which is Rajanikara Bimbam. So the Rajanikara, that is Chandra, is reflected in the water. And kalabhihi karpuraihi nibiditam. And this jala also, this bowl also has karpura and kala. Kala here means some scented perfume. Okay. Kalabhihi karpuraihi रजनिकर बिंबम जलमयम कस्तूरी कलंकः एतत् सर्वमपि निबिडितम्. It has been filled into your cup and you drink from such cup. Atah, I'll explain this a little more. Tvat bhogena pratidinam idam rikta kuharam vidhihi bhuyaha bhuyaha nibidayati noonam tava krite. So vidhi means here refers to Brahma, the creator, Prajapati Brahma. He has to create the ale in the bowl of yours because you drink it every day. Tvat bhogena, you consume it every day, pratidinam, and therefore making the bowl empty. Rikta kuharam means the bowl gets empty, and hence bhuyaha bhuya, every now and then repeatedly vidhi has to create all these things to fill your cup. Noonam tava krite, for your sake he is ever ready and anticipating. As soon as you finish drinking from one cup, he creates all these things, these materials, concocts this solution and puts it into your cup, and you drink from it. This is the superficial meaning. Let's now look at them more carefully. This is one of my interpretations. You please help me out here. I was not able to completely unpack the mystery of this verse. Rajanikara bimbam. So imagine this: there is the water in her cup, right? There is the emerald cup. It is first only holding water, it seems. Jalamayam. But because she has the Chandra on her head, it is getting reflected into the water and soaking it. So Soma, Rajanikara is Soma, right? He is Chandra, who is called as Soma. And if you remember from the Vedas, Soma is a uh, it's a it's a rasa, Soma rasa, which has been mm, kept overnight or for at least for a couple of days. What is that? It's called fermentation. Yeah, it's a fermented rasa. So the Rajanikara's bimba has fallen into your cup because it is there on your head. And then there is the Kasturi. You know what Kasturi is? Kasturi, huh? Musk, exactly. That is the musk. Yeah, it's procured from a musk deer, which is very dominant in the Himalayan. Uh, it's actually mixed with the droppings, but actually it comes from a gland just above the tail, the anus of the deer. You're exactly right, ma'am. Uh, and that musk is very sweet and very strong smelling, very costly also. And I mean, it was these deers were hunted for that very reason. Yeah, you have. Oh, is it very bitter? Okay.
6, 8 years old.
Mm,
Main man, space they used to do it.
mm, I see. Yeah. So now there is the Kasturi mixed from her because she is wearing the scent with her in her hair, Kasturi scent. Then there is the Kalanka. That is the uh, okay. Let's look at what Kalanka is also. Kalanka in Samskrita. I think that is also one of the sweet smelling uh, essences. Mm, correct, correct. Mm, okay. I don't find to see. I mean, I'm not able to find uh, a meaning which fits into this context. But I this is how I read this. So now there is the moon which is being reflected into the cup of water that she is holding, and because it is soma, it is imbuing the nature of fermentation into the cup, therefore making it also fermented. Then there is the kasturi sweet attar which is going into it. Then there is the some other essences going into it. There is the karpura from her teeth and the tambula that she is chewing on. Bits of it perhaps has fallen because when she sips it, some remnants from her teeth, which are karpura like, has fallen into the cup and making this concoction, right? And now she is drinking from it. But because she keeps drinking from it, Vidhi, Brahma is now, he's actually also scared of Devi, but also he finds it his loving duty to keep her cup, uh, you know, this sangria ever filled so that she can enjoy uh, wonderful wine, a nice, nice. It's not really beer. Beer is too crude a drink, but some concocted decoction, you could say, for her to enjoy it. And thus he wants to make sure that she is always high. And why the reason that I have seen many commentators say is that Brahma wants to keep Devi high on ale because if she were not high, if she were sober, she would actually realize the reality of the world and the world would stop existing. And so Vidhi, that is Brahma, who is taken on the responsibility of keeping or creating the world, makes sure that Devi is in an inebriated state. So this is a very Vedantic metaphor. Here, when you're inebriated, as is the case when when you drink something or take some substance, you lose track of reality, right? And we imagine things, or we are not able to see through things which are actually there before us. We are hallucinating. And therefore, when we are hallucinating, we find all these dreams, we find strange incidences occur, and we blurt out things which are not even true, perhaps, and so on. Which is exactly what Vidhi's Brahma's role is, to create something which is not even present, which is this world. According to at least Advaita Vedanta, we say the Jagat is Maya, Jagan Mithya. And for this Mithyatva to come, he has to ensure that she is hallucinating, and therefore he makes sure that he keeps the cup ever full. And what these ingredients are, perhaps I'm actually at a loss of what the true significance of these is. Maybe one of you can help me out, or we'll try to look it up afterward.
So that they when he went out with the charioteer.
Oh,
So
wow. That's so good. Such a nice parallel.
s- s- senses. So the world as it was in its total reality,
Mm.
which affected his mind. And then he came and he became Gautam Buddha, according to Buddha Charita. So if he had been gone out in a drunken state, he would have made fun of everything,
Correct.
have realized the reality of life. Would that be
Wow.
like
Mm.
such is the author here?
It's Adi Shankaracharya himself, yeah.
So, so, um, so I still don't know about Adi Shankaracharya, but I'm trying to imagine, could it be another man, say for example,
True.
um, to keep his wife happy and to sort if you don't keep the wife happy, the whole samsara doesn't go.
Yeah. Hmm.
She's
Hmm.
husband's duty is only to sort of go and earn the money and supply. That is his duty, moral duty. But if he, for any reason, kept the wife unhappy, then he is going to suffer, children are going to suffer, and the home is going to suffer, everything. So is
Absolutely.
that the reason why she was kept very happy? Brahma?
Wow, that's a very correct. Hmm. Correct. Of course, absolutely, it's most welcome. I mean, we actually encourage such skeptical questions. Yes.
He was a bachelor. What would he know? Sort of like, but we have undergone this kind of questions before, so
Oh,
asked.
true, true. I mean, these are very pointed questions. One must know them. Hmm. Please go on. I interrupted you. Correct. I think, yeah, one thing is, I mean, so now there is, I think we have spoken about this philosophical dilemma before of should one really go through themselves the experiences of life alone, only then would they get the wisdom, or would they get the same wisdom if having looked at people going through the same thing? So, this is a question I would say one cannot satisfactorily answer one way or the other, but I think it's a good combination of both. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, these are good questions. Very welcome questions. Fresh. It forces us to look at all of these with a very fresh perspective. And I absolutely loved the parallel between this and Buddha, Gautama Buddha, where you could also interpret that very same story in a different way. His father kept him inebriated in the pleasures and luxuries of the palace. So, and when he went out of the palace, he actually saw the world for what it is. So, in that way, also, we could interpret the same thing.
unprotected, right?
Correct. Yes.
Straight highway, not going to the side streets where the beggars are.
Correct. Adbhutam. Swarasyamayam. Anything else? Is anybody else there who would like to add? No. Asked.
It's time to stop, isn't it? 1.5 hours.
Yes, yes. We are stopping here. We'll just read the shloka once again and then we'll stop here. Good.
Kalanka.
No, I mean I know the meaning, but it doesn't fit well into the shloka here. It just means some accusation, kalanka, or it could mean some stain mark. Uh, that's why Shashi is also called as Kaladhara because he has a certain. If you look at the moon, there are certain spots on the moon. Yeah. कलङ्कः कस्तूरीरजनिकरबिम्बं जलमयं कलाभिः कर्पूरैर्मरकतकरण्डं निबिडितम् अतस्त्वद्भोगेन प्रतिदिनमिदं रिक्तकुहरं विधिर्भूयो भूयो निबिडयति नूनं तव कृते. Astu, I think was a very fruitful class. We had many open-ended questions, more food for thought. Perhaps it will inspire more people to think along these lines. Astu, धन्यवादः अनेके आर्ये. नमस्कारः.